What's up guys, War History Geek here, and welcome back to another new acquisitions video. Today we're going to be taking a look at items from early November until December 31st of 2023. So let's just get right into it. So some items I picked up on Facebook Marketplace during this time was actually this collection of World War II Merchant Marine items. And I picked these up local to me. And I paid $20 for all this, what I thought was a really, really fair price. So for starters, you can see shoved in the top of the box here is a Merchant Marine Academy car decal, which I thought was pretty cool. It says until 1943, so this might be an original World War II era car decal. I'm sorry, 1988, 1943 to 1988. So pretty cool there. Here you can see an original cap insignia for the Merchant Marines, all bullion, which is just really, really beautiful. I love these bullion patches. Taking a look here, we have some miscellaneous buttons I don't believe are military related. We have some other epaulets here and such, so here we have some other bullion patches. I'm not exactly sure what these stand for, but if I can find it, I'll put it on the screen. Here we have another one. All bullion, of course. Here we have the belt buckle that goes along with it. And if you're looking here, we have a lot of miscellaneous stuff, but we do have all of the correct buttons for the uniform. So we have the large ones here for the front, and then we also have some of the smaller ones that would have been for the cuffs. So, pretty cool little collection there. For $20, that's a really great price. I think this collection, if I were to sell it, could easily go for upwards of $50. So, I'm really happy to have these in the collection, because Merchant Marine stuff is just so uncommon these days that it's just impossible to find unless you really, really look for it. So, this was a really great find that I'm happy to add to the collection now. So now, moving on here, another couple of items I picked up was, first of all, I picked up this not World War II, but post-World War II Christmas card for a infantry unit. So this Christmas card is actually on display in the Military History Museum that I helped set up. I put it on display in a special Christmas exhibit that we're doing, which if you're interested, you can see in that video. But anyway, so I'll clip over to that so you can see that. All right, guys. So, as I said in the other clip there, I have this 1st Infantry Division Christmas card from about the 1950s, and I'm going to be putting it in the Christmas exhibit in the Military Museum right now. So, as you can see, this is the Christmas exhibit. We primarily just have World War I and World War II in here right now, so this is going to be a nice addition. Taking a look at the back there, it's just a picture from Germany, and then this is the card itself. So, yeah. That's all for this one. All right, and we're back now. So, in addition to that, two other items I picked up on Facebook Marketplace during this time was, first of all, this really, really interesting children's uniform from what looks like the 1950s or 1960s. Now, so I haven't been able to find much, if any, information on this. Judging by the insignia and how the construction's a little different, I would say that this is definitely something handmade. And, this is extremely common for World War I and World War II. You can find children's uniforms for that, not easily, but you can find them if you look for them. Children's uniforms from this period, I've never seen one. I haven't met anyone that's seen one before. And I haven't been able to find any research online. So I think I paid like $10 for this uniform. And I thought that was just an amazing price for something that I've never seen before. And of all the people I talked to, none of them had seen anything like it before. So if you have any information, please leave it down in the comments for me. I'd love to learn more about this piece. And then also from the same seller, we have this Air Force uniform. So as you can see, it's a fairly high-ranking officer. I don't recall the rank off the top of my head. I'll put that on the screen here. But as you can see, he was also part of the military police branch of the Air Force, which I believe was the Air Police. It went through a couple different names, but I'll tell you the exact name that's on this badge. And then many, many awards on this ribbon rack. As you can see in the picture here, some really interesting awards. You have the Army Good Conduct Medal with the clasp attachment. And then you also have the Occupation Medal with the Berlin Airlift device, and a number of other really interesting awards. And my guess is that he probably served from the immediate post-World War II, so probably 1945, 1946, all the way up until through the Vietnam War, as you can tell by the Vietnam Service Medals. So a really interesting uniform, and we do have the name tag as well, and I'll put a picture of that up here. And I'm hoping I can do more research. This veteran is local to the Ohio area, so I'm hoping I can get some research done, maybe get it in the military museum, or at the very least just have a story to go with this uniform. And hopefully this will get its own video in the future as well. Okay, so moving on. Those were all the items I picked up on Facebook Marketplace. So next up here, we have a pretty interesting item. And this is not an original artifact. This is actually a book that I picked up from a somewhat local Italian restaurant to me. And I'll put the name of the restaurant up here, but I believe it's the Santos Italian Restaurant. And you can look that up, but we actually were going to dinner there shortly before Thanksgiving to meet with some family friends. And I noticed some World War II paperwork and service medals on the wall, and I was taking a look at them, and it turns out that the couple that were sitting at a table adjacent to that were actually the owners of the restaurant. And I got to talk to the owner about, I believe it was her father or grandfather who served, and talked about his service a little bit, talked about my collection a little bit, and I learned a little bit about her family, but also that her family member who those medals belonged to wrote a book about his experiences. And I'm not even sure if this is a book you can purchase online or something like that. As you can see, it's copyrighted 2004, but this is a book that she gifted to me saying that if I was interested in it, that I should definitely read this, and here it is. So if I get a chance to read this, I will definitely revisit it, maybe talk about his story a little bit, but I thought this was just a cool item that was worth mentioning on the channel. All right, so next up here is actually another item that I can't show physically. I was at a local antique mall to me, which is one of my favorites in the entirety of the United States that I've been to. It's only about 30-40 minutes away from me, and it has amazing things. I always walk out of there with at least one thing, but I came across this huge bag of letters that you can see on the screen now. And the reason for that being is I'm not even exactly sure how many letters there are. I know there's at least 100 to 200, possibly more than that. But it's letters from a man serving in a field artillery battalion, writing letters back and forth between his family and friends from 1953 to 1956. So lots and lots and lots of letters. And the reason I can't show it here is because not only is there so many I can't show, but because I'm currently in the process of cataloging them and getting them organized into protective sleeves and all that. So I didn't want to take down that whole system that I have set up, but overall, amazing collection. I paid $100 for these letters, and I know some people get a little twisted on how they value collections like that of letters and paraphernalia, but this is my number one favorite thing to collect, is these things that tell a story. So I decided to pick these up. They will get revisited in a future video, but I do have many hours of work ahead of me before I can do that. But anyway, this is by far my favorite item of this entire period of items that I've collected. And definitely one of my favorite finds of the year. But anyway, moving on from that item, then we have a collection of items that I picked up over Thanksgiving break. So let's just get right into those. So we have a nice little pile here. And let's start with these. So here we have a collection of Spanish-American War postcards, and these are going to be digitized and added to my website, so stay tuned for that. But as you can see, these are training shots from the late 19th century, and it's really interesting. Here you can see some artillery cannons, and as you can see, I paid $5 a piece for those. Some people might say that that's above retail or at retail. I'd agree that's probably at like retail, but I just thought they were too interesting to pass up, so I wanted to purchase them. And then there was also this World War I portrait photo from the same vendor that I decided to pick up as well. Now, this was from a different antique store on the same day that I picked those up. Here we have some World War II cartoon postcards. So I'm sure you've seen many of these before, and they were only $1 a piece, so I picked up one of every kind. As you can see, there's some really interesting designs, all from the World War II period, maybe immediate post-war. But overall, just really cool items that I was happy to add to the collection. And I'm going to do something display-wise with them, but for the time being, for $1 a piece, I couldn't pass it up. Oh, and then as you can see here, here's one more Spanish-American War postcard that I missed before. And then the last item from this day was this Blue Jackets manual from 1940. So this is the standard U.S. Navy service manual from the Second World War. These are fairly common, I'm sure, as many of you seen. I think I paid like $5 for this book. Here we do have a name in the front, so I'm hoping maybe I'll be able to research him. But as you can see here, just your standard 1940 U.S. Navy manual. So for $5 to pick up an original manual like this, I thought that was a fair price. You see these types of manuals, specifically the Blue Jackets 1940 manual, going for upwards of $20, $30 online. So for $5, definitely a steal. Okay, so that's all for that day. Let me get these cleaned up and I'll show you the last couple items. Okay, and now we have the last couple of items here. And only one is necessarily directly military related, and the other ones are just kind of interesting pieces that I thought I'd share with you guys. So for starters, we have a Vietnam-era foot powder canister. So just a really standard item. I paid like a couple dollars for it. So just a cool kind of shelf filler piece to go on my Vietnam modern combat display shelf. So I decided not to pass that item up. Here we have a couple more postcards from probably like World War II period to the 1960s, I'm guessing. Here we have Weissbonden. Here we have the some kind of monument of some sort. I unfortunately don't know what it is. Oh, and actually, I forgot to mention, the reason I picked these up is because they all have writing on the back here, which I love something that tells a story, like I said earlier. So this was a really cool piece. I believe I paid like $1 a piece for these. Here you can see this one was sent in 1920. So pretty cool item there. Here we have a very basic one for Wiesbaden as well. Again, with just a little bit of writing on the front there. And then here we have one more of what looks like Walberg und Brockenblick. So again, pretty cool item. And just standard little postcards to add to the collection. And then the last two items here are some vintage flashlights. So this one is from the 1930s, I think 1938, 1939. Here you can see it's ever ready. And I did a little bit of restoration work on these. I purchased them in pretty rough shape. They were pretty oxidized. And if I have my pictures still, I'll put them up here what they looked like before. As you can see, very standard flashlight from the period. However, the metal, due to the oxidation, was weakened. So even after I put it in my rust-removing solution, unfortunately the metal became so weak that it just started falling apart. And the contact tab inside that prevents the batteries from making a constant signal to the light bulb was also dead as well. So unfortunately, this one no longer functions correctly. However, this one here, which is also an ever-ready flashlight, is from the 1920s. And whereas the pieces that failed on that were made out of copper and zinc, this one was made out of all brass. So as you can see, just a 10-year difference means that this lasts all that much longer. And after treating this with rust remover, as you can see, it looks beautiful and shiny. I made sure to give it a nice little oil, and it actually does work if you look down inside there. So really, really cool piece. I think I paid like $5 for it. So to have a working flashlight from that period, I'd love it. $5 for that. Something cool to put on the shelf somewhere and kind of fill in that space. Alright, and that's all for this video. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button, and when you're in that area, hit the subscription button and notification bell. I have plenty of other videos just like this coming in the near future, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!